All right, members, I am ready to walk down memory lane here. We are going to walk down memory. Oh, I entered my password wrong. I can't talk and enter it at the same time, apparently. Okay, so I've got all of my shoots here in tabs, all of my Halloween shoots here, in order, in chronological order. And let me turn on my screen recording so that you all can see what I see. New screen recording. I use QuickTime for this, in case you're curious. Okay, and in case you're curious, I can turn on the internal microphone, and then when I go to sync this, I can sync this to my camera and to my lavalier mic, and it'll all be in real time, so I don't have to even think about it. It'll just all go together. I use multicam for that in Final Cut Pro X. Okay, you ready? You ready? You ready? Okay, so we're gonna start with the first one that I did. Now this was in 2011. Oh my goodness, this was a long time ago. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I actually want to, I'll share my screen with you, but I also, as I'm talking, I will put the actual photos up, like more full screen. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Good thing I had a plan, right? Okay, so the idea here, I was kind of, when did I say this was? I've already forgotten, 2011. So I started this site in 2009, and a couple years in, I think I finally kind of started to hit my stride with having confidence to do different ideas, you know, using myself as a model, because as I've mentioned before, that was not my background. So you know, I had all these ideas and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try them. And that's what I started to do. Now with this one, I called it Masquerade because what I was thinking of, my story, I'm actually going to share with you all later today a video for everybody where I talk about kind of the things I think about as I'm doing one of these costume shoots. And one of the things is story. I try to have a story around it. And my story for this one was kind of masquerade ball / after the masquerade ball, if you know what I mean. A wink wink, nudge nudge. So so I was thinking like super sexy style clothes with the these hilarious spider web tights. And yeah, and I wore this corset thing. Man, that thing was cinched up tight. And one thing about this is that it's in the studio. I was doing I think all of my photo shoots in the studio at that time because I just wasn't comfortable really going out. I had only done a few, I think, out in the field, you know, and the majority of my shoots at this time were truly self-portrait shoots where I was using interval timer. So it was a lot easier in the studio. As I've gotten more complex, I've had, you know, Raymond come and help me take photos, and I've, you know, just kind of directed him as to what exactly I want for each shot. But that way he can kind of compose it and keep an eye on some of the technicals. So anyway, back to this subject. So it was in the studio, but I was thinking that as I'm looking at them, I'm kind of glad that they were in the studio. You know, I drug in this somewhat heavy chair, you know, this dark wooden chair. It's just one of my dining table chairs. And I was thinking like, you know, the after party. So, you know, I'm imagining like this fancy masquerade and party. And then, you know, afterwards I'm dressed down and with my little feather duster thing. But yeah, that's what I was thinking with this. Also, I had short hair at the time, and that's a wig. Her name's Veronica. So that's pretty much it with that one. Pause. Sorry about that. I will mute that coughing. Let's see. Let's move on to the next one. The next one, now I'm really getting into it. So this one is 2012, the next year, and it's called Witchy Woman. So this one was like, I didn't have an idea, but I knew that I wanted to do, this would have just been my second year doing it, and I knew I wanted to do it again because I really liked the idea of doing something crazy and different, you know, from just being in the studio or whatever, smiling for the camera. So I thought, you know, I was walking around just like in the Halloween section of a big box store, and I saw a cauldron, and I was like, oh, that would be cool. My initial thought was that I wanted smoke coming out of the cauldron. I was going to get some dry ice, and I just thought, oh, that would be so cool. And I'll be like witchy, and I got this like little cape thing. And just these really inexpensive like bag of spiders, the plastic spiders that I was able to use. And really the key to this one, I think, was just it being super dark and just using really selective lighting. I don't remember what lights I used for this one. Yeah, I don't remember. But this one was fun. I think that, oh, I keep hitting the wrong buttons. I think that this is really where I got into it with the story and being like this witchy seductress, you know, trying to tempt you into something. I don't know what even. But then the next year I was like, I'm going the opposite direction. And I went angel. Now, I don't think I have like a particularly angelic, innocent kind of a look to me. I have a hard time getting that wide-eyed quality, which is actually kind of come into play later on. And I'll tell you that in just a minute here. But I just thought, you know, I've just gone blonde for the first time. I'd always wanted to be blonde. And, you know, I tried my best. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about here is that I'm in the studio, but I was still trying to create an environment for myself. Oh, by the way, I should mention that in this Witchy Woman one, I was in the kitchen, but you couldn't really tell because I had angled myself so that I had my back to some dark drapes, and it just totally faded into the blackness of the background. So that was cool. Not actually in the studio, though I assume I was using some studio lighting here, probably my strobes. Again, I don't really remember, but anyway, for Angel one, I was on my white backdrop, and I was blowing it out with, you know, speed lights pointed at the backdrop. But the key and the difficult thing is this was, I believe, my white roll paper backdrop already. But so it, you know, you have a nice smooth transition from the back to the floor, but it still is kind of awkward, especially when I'm blowing out the white. So to kind of remedy that, to kind of mask that transition period from blown out backdrop to white, but not totally white, blown out flooring, I got this white tulle. I just got a bunch of yards of it, and I just put it kind of under me, behind me, and I was thinking in my head, like, oh, it kind of looks like clouds or something like that. So that solved that issue for me, and it did add just a little bit of interest, and I like it. It worked out well for this shoot. I think I've done that before in other shoots too, where I've wanted that bright look, and I just put like light colored tulle back there. Tulle is something I use often as a tool. Anyway, the next year, this is, where are we now? 2014. I'm back to dark hair. And this one was like, man, what do I do? I think I knew Leigh had dark hair, and I really just wanted to do something with candy. And I really had trouble this year trying to figure it out. What I really wanted to do was fill my bathtub with candy and somehow make that work. But I was really challenged with figuring out how to make a happy candy Halloween-y kind of a shoot, because I didn't necessarily want it to be costumed. I just wanted it to be Halloween themed somehow. So rather than fill up my bathtub, which would have taken a lot of candy, or a lot of other things underneath the candy. It would have been a mess. Instead of doing that, I just decided to do it in my studio, and I kind of like threw the candy, and I had the candy around me, and I even brought the pumpkin in a little bit. And I just kind of thought, you know, the story was kind of having fun, you know, just having fun with the candy and such in the studio. And yeah, that was it. Fun fact, I didn't eat any of that candy because none of it was vegan. Raymond ate all of the candy. So anyway, the next year is Red Riding Hood. This one I love. This was the first time that I really got out of the studio, out of my home, and into the field for one of these shoots. I went super early in the morning. It was still like practically dark when we got there. Raymond was helping me out, and I made this hooded cape with just a big piece of like velour fabric, and I used, what did I use? I did a tutorial online. I just found like a no-sew tutorial for this thing, and it involved like cutting and using a ribbon to like basically make the stitching and be able to put it around me. And I want to say that I had to actually use like liquid, I think it's called liquid stitch or something like that. It's basically glue for fabric. And I think I used that. I was also creative with where I put the edges of the fabric, because the edges of the fabric had like, they were kind of finished. So I think that's what I put around the edge so that I wouldn't have to do any like sewing or finishing of the edges, but they would still look clean. I still have this, and I always say like, oh, if I go to a Halloween party, I'll be able to wear this, but like I haven't. So, so anyway, the other thing was that I got, this basket, and this is just a basket that I've had laying around, and I just filled it with some stuff, including, some apples and stuff. And, I edited it so that it would bring out those reds, because that was kind of the thing, right? Little Red Riding Hood. But instead of it being like a bright, childish red, I made it a deeper, darker, moodier red in the editing. And to be fair, the actual cape itself, it wasn't a super bright red. It was a little more of a blue red. So that's what I did there. And I did have this story, and I did kind of talk through the story, I think, in the video that I made for everyone that year. And yeah, that one was fun. The next year, I decided that I was going to do several costumed shoots. This is 2016, I think. Yeah. So I did 3 that year. And let me tell you, I bit off a little more than I could chew. I've done monthly themes for a long time. I actually don't have one this month for a bunch of reasons. One of them being that I'm trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. But this month's theme was October in Disguise. So my idea was to do a mock-up of the Addicted to Love video. So these are, I think, things that I had. No, I think, I don't remember if I had to buy, I think I maybe had to buy that dress, but I bought it. I remember when I bought it at H&M for like $15 or something. It was something inexpensive, not something that I would probably ever wear out because it's very tight and short, but it worked really well for this shoot. I just threw on some heels that I already had. The clothes, the boy clothes that I was wearing are just clothes that I had. You know what? I think I bought the tie for this one too. And I think I just got it at like a discount store, just a plain black tie. So, oh, and that microphone is actually a Rode microphone that they had sent to me and I had reviewed a long time ago. So it's not like, I was kind of trying to like cover it up with how I was holding it. So anyway, there's that. Oh, and that guitar has just been around in my studio for a long time. I don't even play, but it's been around. and I finally put it to use. And then, yeah, this whole thing, man, this thing was a project, because not only was I, you know, coming up with 2 different looks, but I also, I mean, post-production, man, that was major. But I'm glad that I did it because I like the result. I definitely learned some things. Like, I hadn't done just a shot of the background. And if I would have done that, it would have made things infinitely easier. And I mean, I could do an entire video on explaining how I did all of this, but yeah, all of this, all of the shadows underneath me, all of that was all very, very carefully thought out and burned and, you know, all that stuff in post-processing. So definitely a lot of fun there, but a late night trying to get that one finished. And another one that I did that year was this droid one called, Is This the Droid You're Looking For? So, I mean, come on. It's hilarious. I purchased another thing for this one. I purchased this gold unitard from Amazon. Not very expensive or anything, but I hate buying things that I'm not going to ever use again. And I knew that I probably wasn't ever going to use this again. But it was like, oh, Star Wars, it's one of my favorite things. I'm going to do it. So totally a lot of fun. I had on a lot of gold makeup, cut into the backdrop to make this one happen. And this one was a lot of fun. Now, what I think I learned from this one, though, is that I don't think I pushed myself far enough. Number one, the bodysuit thing was like pants and long sleeves and it zipped up, but it didn't fit very well. So I didn't have any shots of me in full length because it just didn't fit very well. And I was kind of nervous about it. I was a little insecure, like gold bodysuit. And I put on gold makeup and I felt like I was putting all this gold stuff all over me. I had gold dust all over me, but I think I could have gone further with this one and I could have made it even cooler. So, you know, the idea is kind of gone. You know, now I've already done it. I'm not going to do it again. But if I do something like this again, something metallic like this, or, you know, I don't know. I've always got ideas. Tin Man, you know, stuff like that. I think I need to just take the chance and maybe get some of these safer shots with the, you know, what I feel like is a lot of makeup or what I feel like is kind of a crazy outfit, but then put on more makeup, do more gold glitter hairspray in my hair, you know, do some really, you know, take it further afterwards, after I get, you know, those safe shots for my work. So yeah, I think I learned a valuable lesson in that one. And then in this one, this was the last one for 2016, and it was called Fawn in the Forest. Oh, adorable. Yeah, I watched a lot of makeup tutorials for this one because I am not a makeup artist. I don't wear makeup outside of work, and having to put on all this makeup was pretty funny. I really like this one because it's just, come on. I made these deer antlers. I made them, they're paper mache. And so I had a headband, and then I like, I did a tutorial for this one too, or I watched a tutorial for this one rather. I had a headband and it said to use pipe cleaners to kind of form the general shape of the antlers, and then paper mache around them with brown paper bags. And then after that, I kind of used some different colors of paint to kind of put some little, you know, interest on them to make them look a little weathered. Yeah, really, really funny. And then the ears are felt that I just glued together and kind of sewed onto the headband. I still have those. And this dress is just a couple of lengths of like sheer soft tulle. And again, I use this a lot, but I make these sort of, they're almost like robes that I make out of them. And then I'm able to like gather up here and belt it and make it into kind of a dress. and you can wear something underneath it. You can not wear something underneath it. You can wear it open, and I can use it for anybody who comes into my studio because it's just all this tool. It's not like size dependent, you know? Oh, fun times. Incidentally, I believe as we were walking through the forest for this one, I think it was hunting season. Yeah, it was hunting season. And I think I heard shots like way off in the distance. And we were like, let's just get this done real quick, okay? I'm running around the forest with antlers. Okay. That brings us to the last one. That brings us to last year. Last year, I was a vintage pinup witch. Now, I mentioned earlier in the, what was it? The angel one, where I was like, I just don't do wide-eyed, bushy-tailed very well. That's just not, I'm not well suited to that. So pinup is just that. It's these wide eyes, this big smile, and it's just not my strong suit. So I kind of had to push to make this one work for me. I did get my hair and makeup done so that I would be that much closer. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. You know, when I look at pinup shots, I see these girls that look very innocent, and I probably don't look like super innocent in these, but yeah, I think I did my best, and I think they turned out okay. But I played to my, strong suit, I think, in these, which is just kind of laughing my way through it, which I think helped. And yeah, that's it. Oh, just to mention, in this one, I did also mess with the backdrop. And this is the black backdrop again. I pulled down a length of it so that it was onto the ground, and I poked a bunch of holes in it with a pencil or something. And yeah, it was a chopstick. I don't remember, but I poked a bunch of holes in it, and then I put lights behind it so that they would shine through, so that it would be sort of like the night sky behind me. That's another thing with the pinup shots that I saw, that they were usually studio based, and there may have been some sort of painting or something on the background, or there was post-production work done, so it looked like they were like on a painting or something. I actually saw one in particular that was really cute that I thought about trying to do, but this was sort of my inspiration. Was the background was a night sky, but there was a big like cartoon moon on the side, and I thought that would have been really cool, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to risk messing up that length of backdrop by painting on it when it already looked pretty cool with just the stars. So yeah, that one was fun. So that brings us to the end. That brings us to this year, and I'm still not positive what I'm doing, but this year, hopefully I will be able to realize my idea. So that's it, everybody. I will definitely be back later this week to chat with you all about whatever project I come up with. And I think it's going to be actually this camping trip related. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get everything done in time so that I can share it with you, because camping will be early in the week, and then I will be back, and fingers crossed on Friday or Saturday I'll be able to share photos and video with everybody. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.